Yeah, it'll probably ask you if you want to stay in the meeting. Because, yeah, we're now
Yeah.
recording.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Angela. I'm Angela. This is Assistant Laura.
Hello.
And so we are starting a new video series to just answer questions because I've had a lot of questions come in. We had a bunch for ShayCon, way more than we could get to even in like that 2 hour panel that we did there. So we're going to start today with 2 questions and we'll keep doing these. So,
Okay.
Assistant Laura, would you like to say hello, say anything?
I am thrilled to be assistant. I've been reading Angela Marshall for many, many years, long before she was A.G.
I was gonna
Marshall.
say, you were here when I was Angela Marshall, right?
I absolutely was. And I have proof of that. I have a few of I was generously provided some paperbacks of some of those early things. So I was one of those geeks that am thrilled to actually be on board as assistant instead of just reader. It's very exciting to me.
It's so fun. Yeah. We have lots of fun. And I'm super excited to share that fun with everyone in
Oh
video.
yes.
It's gonna be
Oh
great.
goodness. That they got to join in
Yeah, yeah.
what we got going on here because yeah, we have some fun. My family laughs at me, you know. I will make a comment about a fairy tale author, and for one thing, they'll say that they'll accuse me of fangirling because, of course, I probably am. But also, my husband especially will laugh and say, "So is the author in a fairy tale, like inside the story, or is the author writing fairy tales?"
Oh no, like a
So
fairy tale author
a
is in
fairy
the
tale
author
author,
is a fairy tale.
exactly. And thank you for understanding that. I didn't
No,
phrase
I
that.
get it. I get it.
Yes, yeah.
And I think
So
anybody who's watching, there are people. We're just gonna assume they get it too. Yeah.
yes, okay, yes, yes. This is you are my
We're
people.
yeah, our
You're
people. We're
my
gathering our people
tribe,
here.
our little
Yes.
tribe. Yes.
Tribe
Um,
sounds we need like our
yeah,
core.
we do need a
We need
new.
a better, yeah.
Okay, so if you're watching this, we need some replies here because we need to know what else we can call
What
ourselves.
is our, yeah, what is our
What's
community
our
called?
community called? Yes, that's perfectly phrased. Are you ready to answer some questions?
Okay, I'm ready for
Okay.
questions.
So I mentioned that early on you simply went by Angela
Mhm.
Marshall and you published under Angela Marshall, but then at one point you switched to A.G. Marshall.
Mhm.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what made you switch to that pen name and how you chose those initials?
Yeah, so it was originally Angela Marshall. I love the idea of like a secret identity. In reality, I would be really bad at a secret identity because I just kind of like
Oh yeah.
we'll say whatever anyway. So it would get spilled pretty early, I think.
Oh yeah.
So I published
If nothing else, you would comment in Facebook like I often do and use the wrong account. And so then
yeah,
it would be so obvious, you know.
yeah, it would, people would catch on. So I considered a pen name originally, and then I was like, no, we'll just do Angela Marshall. Like, that's fine. That'll work. It was fine, and it did work. But I also am a musician, and I publish sheet music. And so with Amazon, if you have, and most bookstores probably, if you have the same name, they're going to put them all in the same bookshelf.
Ooh,
And so having these novels and then having this piano sheet music and like educational resources all together was just like really confusing. I was like, people are gonna
absolutely.
really get mixed up here. And the sheet music was done through a traditional company, so I couldn't, there was really no way for me to email them and be like, hey guys, can you change the name on this music you've already printed? I've
Right.
decided to change my identity. Like that was not going to fly. So the books changed.
Plus
So
your music degrees were probably under
yeah, under Angela
Angela.
Marshall. So I have like that professional
Right.
reputation and world. So it didn't make sense to change that. I wasn't really well known as an author yet. And it's like it's fairly common for authors to use initials anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's like this long-standing tradition of that. So
Oh yeah.
then when I knew I was going to change my author name, I went back to this, oh, should I do a cool pen name? Like, should I make something up? I couldn't, no.
No.
No was the answer to that. So AG really is my initials. My middle name is Gladys after my great grandmother.
Oh.
So I became AG Marshall, and it's surprisingly easy to change all that over. So that's the
So I
beginning of
get two
my,
copies of books because now it's from Angela Marshall to A.G. Marshall. And
yeah. So you've got those older paperbacks, right? There aren't that many of them in existence that
ah,
say like Angela Marshall on them.
right, right. Well, not only do my books say Angela Marshall, but they have a different name, even though they're the same book. So
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit more about when The Princess and the Pea became Princess of Shadows and
Yeah.
The
And
Frog
I
Prince
feel like,
became...
would it be like a huge hassle for you to pull out those two books and
No.
show people? Because they're not super visible on the shelf.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then, yeah, just for those of
Okay.
you who are
So
like new to
yeah,
me, yeah, so
so can you see
there's,
that? So we've got whatever this one is.
yeah, so that's the Princess and the Pea,
Princess and the Pea, which became
Princess of Shadows.
Shadows. And then we've got
And
Frog
then,
Prince
yeah, the Frog Prince became Princess of Secrets.
with the different pen names,
Yes, yeah.
which we've
So
already discussed. So since
completely
yes,
new identities. So yeah, if you guys are like, I know some of you out there are like aspiring authors. If you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, just make a decision. You can change it later.
yeah.
It's not that hard. So yeah, so
And
I
then you've
went,
got some readers like me who will enjoy having the multiples.
yeah, and then we just get
Well,
collector's editions.
and you can go to Goodreads and go to those options and go back and look at all the editions. And it's just not
Goodreads did get confused. That was the only like, they were
oh,
like, you're what? It's what? And I'm like, no, it's okay. It's the same book. But yeah, so originally when I published, again, kind of the same line of thinking that made me just publish as Angela Marshall was like, oh, well, it's a retelling of The Princess and the Pea. We'll just call it The Princess and the Pea. That's pretty straightforward. Like there were some
right.
other series that were doing that, and I was like, okay, yes, that'll work. Um, it kind of worked, but also my retellings are not very
Mm-mm.
faithful to the original. And so I started to notice in reviews, people were kind of confused. They were like, this is not quite the same thing. Like and it was also starting to get confusing because more and more people were retelling these fairy tales.
Right.
And so people were getting mixed up on like, oh, is it yours? Is it this person's? And so I was like, okay, we just need to change the title. Like we need a different branding here. And
Well,
so
and it has some Sleeping Beauty elements in there
it
too.
does. Yeah, it does.
You don't want to neglect one of the fairy tales. Poor...
That was like mostly unintentional though, the Sleeping
Oh.
Beauty bit. I added that into the description after people pointed it out. I told you, yeah, there's no filter here. We'll just tell it like it is. Yeah, it's totally a mashup of Princess and the
Oh,
Beauty. 100% my intention. The real reason is I needed a way for someone to like come onto the scene and not have any idea what was going on. Because in the Princess and the Pea, she's rather clueless. So that was the
right.
answer. That was the answer there.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so those changed names, and then obviously the next books in the series kept that same like naming convention.
Right. And right now it's going to continue, and your next, the one you're writing right now is Princess of
Mirrors.
Mirrors. Yay!
Yay! Which Princess of Glass was taken. So
oh yeah,
that out there.
That's a good book though, actually.
It is a good book. Princess of Glass was taken. Midnight was taken. So I went like glass adjacent with
go.
mirrors, but also like it's a really big plot point. The mirrors.
Absolutely.
So
all the way back to Shadows, or
yeah, we've been teasing mirrors all the way from like book one. So now
Absolutely.
we get like the mirror payoff. I'm super excited about that.
Exactly. And so we're all about the Cinderella.
Yes,
right?
yeah. So we have our Cinderella mugs. These are like our company mugs.
Oh, good point. Let me drink out of it now that I picked it up.
I picked it up. You might as well get a drink, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think that takes us through.
Yeah, it gives you some history of
through our questions.
Angela, and then therefore A.G. Marshall is. Now, just a note, the website is not A.G. Marshall or Angela Marshall.
Both were taken. Yeah.
Marshall, yes.
So yeah, Angela G. Marshall. And that's relevant because So we're doing more of these. I have a list of questions I've collected, but obviously if anyone has more questions, you are welcome to ask them. We will
Oh,
slot
yes,
them in. And so Assistant Laura is going to take over
right.
the organizing of the questions because she'll
So that
tell
I can
you, I'll lose
ask
them. Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah. So send them to Laura so she can ask me. And her email is assistant@angelagmarshall.com.
Right.
And
I look forward to
yeah,
getting emails. Yes.
yeah, she's been, since we set up the email address, I've been like, okay, we got to
Yeah.
use this thing.
Put it
Yeah.
on, please. Put
I
it
feel
in.
so like fancy having like the domain name be my website, right? Like
Oh,
it feels really official.
completely. Completely. Absolutely. Well, but when you're in a tech family, it sort of comes naturally that you do some of that other stuff too.
Kind of. I did it on my own and it took
Oh,
a bit. So like
so I apologize.
I
It's all
should
on
have,
me.
yeah, I could have maybe asked for help. But yeah, the tech family for sure.
Right.
All right. So thank you all so much for joining us. This was super fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I've been
Yes.
looking forward to it since we came up with the idea, but now that we've
Right.
done one, looking forward
Yeah,
to
this
it
is
even
going to
more.
be great. Yes, absolutely.
All right, so we will see you all next time. Leave questions if you have them.